counting them down. And in a couple of moments, we will get going for the fourth and final match of the day.
All right, I have turned them loose. We have TapatioJ on the left, SpaceColonizer on the right. And I see LOZ Cards fan just in time for the final match of the day. There were, the last one was certainly a barn burner, and the other two prior to that were pretty good as well. We are underway here in Arena 1. Both have the Razor Shield manipulations and are trying to make their way through the 100-plus swarmers and soldiers that are in this opening room.
And SpaceColonizers had a little bit of trouble corralling all those swarmers. TapatioJ was a lot cleaner. Also, what was interesting is that TapatioJ had the minimum, SpaceColonizer had the maximum, which also accounts for the time differential.
Yep, a couple second lead here for Taps, who gets Razor Shield on the feet, followed by an orb right there as well. Just a delayed foot for SpaceCo, so the drops definitely favoring TapatioJ here in the early going, and rockets as well. It's the Holy Trinity.
Yep, and more rockets for TapatioJ. Decided against going directly after them, just wanted to clean up the room, and he's going to be out in a blistering 119. SpaceColonizer gets his orb, so that's going to help him out. He's going to be behind by, he's now currently behind by about 9 seconds.
Yeah, it was good to take out that shrapnel first. When you pick up the orb, it appears at about the character's 2 o'clock, that kind of upper right end. So had that shrapnel not been taken out first, the orb would have disappeared just as quickly as it appeared.
Out
So
in a
202.
Yeah.
SpaceCo thought the room was over, had one more shrapnel to go, so is going to be behind by about 5 seconds heading into total carnage.
But they're both good runners. Oh, SpaceColonizer drops the orb. That is just some unfortunate timing as TapatioJ gets a Razor Shield. So now he's going to have complete control of the room. SpaceColonizer gets a rocket. He's now hoping for an orb replacement or maybe just change rockets to, just try to keep pace.
Well, rightly decides to leave the grenades out of the way there. Now picks up a spreader instead. Tap's still just holding the middle. And now some rockets here for SpaceColonizer.
And gets sabotaged by grenades on the feet. TapatioJ is going to be out in a 302.
And now the game giving SpaceColonizer nothing and forcing him to like it. Does pick up a replacement orb late. And this should be the end of the room, and it is. But a pretty significant delay here. Double-digit seconds behind is SpaceColonizer.
20 seconds behind. He's about 20 seconds behind. TapatioJ starts off the spreader. He's going to do a little bit of cleanup. Not going to go after the gunners with that spreader, which does kind of stun me. So he's kind of stuck in the corner, stuck in the spotlight, losing his religion. But was able to clear out both gunners, and is now just trying to corral these swarmers and keep that orb healthy.
Yeah, going back to strats in the corner, you don't have the same firing lanes, but it's a little bit safer for sure. Does dodge the bullets from that tank and is now dancing in the middle here, looking for that nuke just to get a bit of a breather, and does.
Yep, but now the swarmers all come out in bunches. It's a little trouble. He did take care of the tank. Unfortunately, that shrapnel did pop. He's going to be out of 425. SpaceColonizer, though, having tons and tons of problems.
Well, not getting any drops certainly doesn't help either. Getting some of that TTTT, the typical tank trouble trash.
TapatioJ does get the ball buster, but no weapon, so he's gonna die, hope for something good. Lobbers are fine. Takes out the gunner and does a couple shots, and he's just putting together a good shot. The bank shot, though, has done runners wonders this set of matches.
Most definitely, and about a 504 for SpaceColonizer into Mutoid Man. Tap's just picking up the spreader here after the death, is going to pop off the second arm, is trying to also pop open the chest, but gets vibrated upon, not going to be able to pick up that lobber, and finally gets a replacement.
And now the chest pops. It is a 3-form lead.
Empty drops galore. We have keys. We have invulnerabilities. Neither of those do anything to Mutoid Man, game. And another spreader here for TapatioJ. But not, couldn't see it, couldn't die for it.
Couldn't see it, couldn't die for it. Even if he did die
This
for
one,
it,
though, perfect spot.
The right thing.
That's going to put to final form here. There's definitely some transfer damage in there as well. And this spreader, well, this grenade should be enough, and it is. And TapatioJ going to draw first blood here.
He won game one. He's got those points. Richard Karn coming in from Binford Feud.
Ha! And a 631 for TapatioJ. Meanwhile, oh, Mutoid Man, come on. We already have a victor. You don't need to add insult to insult here by mother henning some of these drops.
Well, that's what Trotoy does. That's what he's known for.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Which is why I'm here in the booth instead of in the tournament.
Makes sense to me. Meanwhile, the head pops off. SpaceColonizer is going to be done in 7:26.
Hey, somebody was talking about the Binford feud. Can I play?
LOZ Card Fan 23, our lead commentator, joining us in the booth.
No, we got cards. We got Burgundy. I'm triple the points.
All right, let's go. So
I exchanged my flannel for a nice suit.
Right. So great job today on the commentary. We really do appreciate all of your hard work. And we've had some very fantastic matches here. And it looks like our good old veteran TapatioJ taking the first game over SpaceCo. But it is a best of 5. And I'll tell you what, Tapatio had a solid arena, had a really good Mutoid Man fight. And he's up 1-0. But we'll see if SpaceCo can bounce back and equalize this.
SpaceCo has the skills in order to pull that off. Drops just need to complement that. And with the amount of games that we're playing best of 5, it should. It's a good nullifier.
It most certainly is, Sigma. So, yes, Taps, member of the HWC, representing here on GG Speedruns, up 1-0, looking to take a 2-0 lead. But SpaceColonizer not going to go down without a fight. He'll be looking to equal this at 1 apiece.
And I'm just turning him loose here. We should be underway momentarily.
All right, fantastic. Make your prediction, folks. Who do you think is going to win game number 2? You think Tapatio is going to take that commanding 2-0 lead, or will SpaceColonizer make this a best of 3? Here we go with game number 2. Both of them have their razor shield manipulations on point. It's all going to come down to who has the better firing lanes, who makes the better decisions. Tapatio staying in the middle. Looks like SpaceCo is doing the same thing here. There is a nuke, if utilized properly, could get a little bit of a advantage. Same for Taps, and they both use it to the perfection, but it is SpaceCo who's going to have the whole shot. A negligible lead, would you say, Bergs?
I most certainly would. Right you are, Cards.
All right, collect power-ups here. They're going to be looking for the orb. They're going to be looking for some good weapons here. Let's see what these runners get. SpaceCo's open and drop is a foot. Tapatio's open and drop. An orb on the feet.
That's just been the type of drops that TapatioJ has been getting for the first one. SpaceColonizer's got nades, then a nuke. He's just looking for anything right now, and a second nuke. He's just going to pick this up. When you're running into bad drops after bad drops like this, you have no problem. You have two choices. One, try to go for regular damage with your handgun, or just collect them all and just hope something else pops. SpaceColonizer was able to do that when the rocket popped for his last drop, so although he is behind, it is a manageable distance to be behind by only about 3-4 seconds.
You're right, Sigma. It's a 4-second deficit for SpaceCo, but yes, he utilized the room with as best as he could, and Tapatio really didn't have anything to complement the orb to expedite that room. So SpaceCo is going to be looking for an orb here in Eat My Shrapnel. 18 of the Mr. Shrapnels that must be taken out, but you can't have more than 4 on the screen at any given point. Otherwise, you're going to be bleeding time. Ideally, you want 42.5 seconds for this room to be complete.
Taps out at 2:05, SpaceColonizer out at 2:10, roughly the same amount of time. SpaceCo just gonna finish out his spreader, gets another spreader.
And this is where Tapatio can really build that lead. If he can keep that orb healthy and SpaceCo, the weapons either dry out or he doesn't get that orb, Tapatio could be over 20 seconds in the lead, and that key is not going to help SpaceCo.
No, drops have just not been happening. Well, as we say that, meanwhile, he does get his orb, so he could try to cut into this. If he gets a few rocket drops, he could claw his way back.
However, Tapatio gets the ultimate razor shield, but SpaceCo does get rockets. How did he not lose that orb right there, folks?
He took my dance class, that's why.
Absolutely right there, Sigma. My word, he should have lost that orb. Tapatio with the razor shield should be able to keep control of the middle, and he is about to be finished up with this room. 1 shrapnel down, and it's a 3:08 into the bonus room. SpaceCo, though, going to still be in the running. Didn't lose all that much time. He's going to be in there with the 3:15. It's just a 7-second lead. Anybody's game going into tank trouble.
Yeah, SpaceColonizer played Total Carnage really well in the first half, despite not having the orb. Once he did get the orb, he was able to get a few good drops. Was able to claw back some of the lead that he lost, some of the deficit that he had gained. And now, spreader for TapatioJ was not able to take out any gunners. Invulnerability for SpaceColonizer, able to take out one of the gunners, and another invulnerability. However, rockets for...
Taps did lose the orb. He does get final armor, but so does SpaceCo. He too loses the orb as he was trying to fight off that second gunner and was just picked off. More rockets though for Taps, and SpaceCo loses his rockets as he is overwhelmed at the door, but luckily for him, he gets a replacement.
Yeah, he gets the replacement. Sometimes in tank trouble, you do have to make a choice. If you have rockets and you do get lucky to chain them together, sometimes it's good just to have...
Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
This run was SpaceCo's, but now it's mine. Good nuke there. Doesn't quite finish up the room there. So Tapatio was going to have a good lead going into the Mutoid Man fight, well into double digits. He was at a 4:28. SpaceCo is just about done. He needs to take out the rest of the shrapnels, which he does. His time is 4:47. He has 19 seconds to make up. Certainly doable, but not when you have a spreader in a prime spot for Taps.
And Mutoid lines up for him.
Lines up perfectly for him. Going to get both of these arms popped off here. Now going to change it up for the grenades here. SpaceCo, that swirl is still out there, and he has no weapon right now. Another spreader for Taps, but this one could get blocked, but no, he gets out of his way and just gets to it in time.
be able to pop the chest and another spreader, but he can't die for it.
No, because he still had some invulnerability left and that could have been blocked, but he is lined up where he could get some manuals in. He's got the head popped off, got a few manuals in there. He's going to change it up for lobbers. He's got a commanding lead right now against SpaceCo, and barring a catastrophe, and boy, we have seen our fair share of catastrophes on Mutoid Man already in this tournament. It's looking like Tapatio is going to be up 2-0.
Tapatio has grenades. Yep, he was able to pick it off because Mutoid had originally parked on it. He got off of it, and now it's just a matter of...
Man, that was just some troll-toid movement right there by Mutoid Man as he tried to pick up those lobbers. That was a very minuscule amount of room, but no matter. Taps takes down Mutoid Man and has on triple match point. 2-0 is his lead.
And SpaceColonizer just gets zapped. Which has been par for the course for him for these next two. And once
he'll still get to it. Ooh, and Mutoid Man went toward him as well. That's going to help him finish off this fight. We're on final form. Unfortunately, these spreaders are not going to help him in the final form, and then he gets blocked. 4, 3, 2, 1. Same level 5.
So
and there we go. Nice job.
Yep, 655.
Yeah, that was a solid Mutoid Man fight there for SpaceCo after the rough start that he had, but what really burned SpaceCo in that match was his tank trouble was just not that good. Tapatio lost his orb early, but the rockets that he got was able to help him carry through to that room and build himself a nice lead in that Mutoid Man fight, and then just continued to get some solid drops there. And TapatioJ looking real good here as he's trying to finish this off in game number 3. SpaceCo gonna have to reverse sweep if he wants to knock Tapatio into that second chance bracket.
Yep, and it also comes down to just good drops and some good tank trouble play, some good total carnage play, and Tapatio's play in those rooms has just been a lot cleaner, in my opinion.
You know, one of the things I talked about, Sigma, during the reveal show is this was a very intriguing matchup between TapatioJ and SpaceCo. And I said that whoever was going to have the more consistent arena gameplay was going to go out on top. And right now, that is looking like Tapatio.
Yep, and it also just goes to show you that sometimes when we're getting to these close matchups, as we saw in the last one and the matchup before that, their PBs are close. Like about 5, 6, 7 seconds apart, which is almost means nothing in this type of race. And it's also, I should say, it's a different mindset you have to have for a tournament than you have to do for just for speedrunning. Like in speedrunning, you are always hunting for spreaders and lobbers in Mutoid. Here, you got to try to pour as much damage as you can. So you're holding on to maybe a rocket or you're holding on to grenades longer than you would normally.
And that's right, Sigma. And of course, you also have the one thing that I've been noticing well from some players is towards the end of Total Carnage, they might see a spreader or a rocket, and they're going to hold off on picking that up until as close to the end of the room as possible so that they have some kind of weapon to take with them into the tank trouble fight, because we've seen what tank trouble can do and has definitely been a tipping point for races. We've seen this happen a lot already, and I expect we'll continue to see that as the tournament progresses. But here we go. Game number 3, a must-win for SpaceCo.
And TapatioJ and SpaceCo, both of them controlling the centers. SpaceColonizer once again has that nuke in a not favorable position, and 2 of them at the same time, and this one in even worse position. And he's got a commercial break.
I guess so. I did not know that that would be a thing for these runners, but okay. So I have no idea if SpaceCo timed that nuke perfectly, but what I do know is that it's back-to-back games where Tapatio gets a first drop orb in collect power-ups.
gets orb, gets a spreader that'll help clear up some of. Okay, a space colonizer's back on. He's chaining rockets together. Also goes to another strategy that I've seen runners do sometimes is min-maxing. Like, you will try to burn out a lot of rockets and try to get as much as you can before the drop disappears. Both have orbs, though. However, TapatioJ does have about a 3-second advantage.
Yep, a 3-second advantage for TapatioJ, just because he had the earlier orb as opposed to SpaceColonizer, but the weapons were able to keep SpaceCo afloat. This Razor Shield will help Tapatio keep himself afloat in Eat My Shrapnel. We'll be able to take care of the Swarmers, should have no problem keeping the Shrapnel dudes under control. A Razor Shield in a bad spot for SpaceCo, he's just going to ignore it. Focus on the middle, focus on getting the Swarmers down and making sure that he does not get overrun by the Mr. Shrapnels. And looks like he's done a good job with that. Nice rockets at the end for Taps. He's got a 204. SpaceCo gained about a half a second, though, with a 206. So about 2.5 second lead. But more importantly, Tapatio has rockets to start. It'll be a spreader for SpaceCo. Oh, that
Wow.
blocked the shrapnel right there. SpaceCo got lucky. Ooh, a Razor Shield. Hey, the luck continues for SpaceCo. Maybe this is the turnaround he needs to maybe go into the bonus room with his first lead. And a key for Tapatio. He's just going to ignore it. His focus right now, stay in the middle. Make sure you keep the kill count high. SpaceCo's going to have no trouble doing that, even if he doesn't get any weapons. Obviously, he would like to see something. A foot for Tapatio, a foot for SpaceCo. Both runners are going to ignore, of course. SpaceCo, even if he wanted to pick it up, can't, because that Razor Shield is going to block any progression of trying to get items that are hugging the wall like that. And look at this. It is indeed going to be a SpaceCo lead into the bonus room with a 304. Very well played.
Those rockets and just overall better weapons that SpaceColonizer had in that room really brought it home for him.
It most certainly did, Sigma. And Tapatio now 10 seconds back. Neither player has a weapon to take with them into tank trouble. This is the room right here, folks. SpaceCo is going to have to play this room a little bit better and or hope Tapatio makes some mistakes. Let's see what happens. A foot, not a good opening drop for SpaceCo.
Oh,
he gets hit by
the shrapnel.
Ah, the shrapnel strikes again. Spreader for Tapatio. That's a solid opening drop. But then rockets next, and this is where we're going to see that lead change once again. Getting the goods. SpaceCo does get some rockets. This should help him out, but this is where Tapatio has an opportunity to take the lead if SpaceCo doesn't continue to see these good weapon drops. A foot in the middle. He should grab that, hope for something else in the next drop. Spreader will help him out. Tapatio staying in the corner here. That's going to really limit his kill count. So even though he's got the orb, SpaceCo could still come out of here first.
But he got a nuke in a good position. He's able to get back in the center. Hopefully he can negate some of the damage time that he lost.
There you go. That's it. Even though SpaceCo lost the orb, his kill count was better than Tapatio's. 427. Tapatio is still not out of the room, and despite the fact he kept the orb the entire time, he lost time. He lost a second, so he's got 11-second deficit, but he will have the opportunity at the ball buster.
SpaceCo getting grenades here, taking out the front gunners on Mutoid Man.
All right, grenades for Tapatio. He'll be able to take down the gunners up front. Now he'll be looking to get that ball buster. Doesn't get picked off here. Does he get the ball buster? Yes, he does. And they both have an arm. Well, actually, Tapatio doesn't have the arm popped off just yet. So SpaceCo still has the lead, but that lead's shrinking a little bit.
A fraction of a form at this point.
And there's the second arm popped off for SpaceCo. Tapatio still does not have the second arm. SpaceCo taking the death, hoping for spreader. Instead, it's rockets. They both have rockets, and they both have the second arm popped off. So right now, anybody's game at this point, but an empty drop for Taps as the rib cage is exposed for SpaceCo. Here comes some lobbers, but here's a spreader for Taps. This could flip the race, folks.
In a prime location, and Mutoid just moves right to him. He's got opportunity. That's two forms down.
There's your change.
Yep, and the lead goes back to Tapatio, but SpaceCo also has the head popped off. It could come down to a spreader here. They both have rockets. It's still going to be an advantage for Tapatio. It is very close. Could come down to the final four. They're tied. Oh my goodness, but the big advantage for Tapatio with the lobbers. It was an empty drop for SpaceCo. He needs something. It's lobbers, but it could be too late. Tapatio is missing some shots. That Mutoid man's going all over the place, and now he's out of oven. He has an empty drop. SpaceCo trying to stay alive here. Will these grenades be enough? It will.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh,
really
wow.
close. We might have to go to the tape on this one.
Oh, we very well might. It is very close, but it looked like SpaceCo is gonna get the job done. Let's take a look here. 6:34 plays 6:35. It's less than a second, but I'd say on paper, it's SpaceCo's win.
SpaceCo really needed that.
Wow. It looked like that spreader for Tapatio was going to lock it up, and he was going to send SpaceColonizer to the second chance bracket. But what happened in that fight? A couple things. Tapatio had the lobbers, ignored the weapon that was coming up next, and then when he ran out of lobbers, he got an invulnerability. SpaceCo was able to just squeeze enough damage to finish off Mutoid Man before Tapatio could, and by less than a second, SpaceCo lives to see another day in this match. We go to a fourth, folks. Man, what a game there. But what won SpaceCo was the same thing that lost him game number 2, and that was tank trouble. Even though he lost the orb, he was more aggressive with his firing lanes. Yes, he did get some good weapons, but he was more aggressive with his firing lanes. Tapatio was a little too conservative trying to protect that orb, and he was staying in the corner. And when you do that, you lose your kill count, and that's why Tapatio, even though he had the orb the entire time, lost a second. And while it wasn't the ultimate factor, it definitely contributed to SpaceCo's victory.
Without a doubt.
All right, folks. SpaceCo looking to see if he can become the second person already in this tournament to pull off the reverse sweep, or if TapatioJ can shake off this game and win it right here in game number 4.
All right, I just counted them down, so they should be starting any second here. And yeah, about a 9/10 of a second difference on that last race. Whew. Not the closest that we've seen, but still a heck of a close race.
I believe it's the closest game we've had so far in this particular tournament, but if you may recall, last season we actually had a race come down to 1 frame. That is one you can't get any closer than that unless you get a tie. Imagine one of these days we get a dead heat tie and they tie by the frame. I mean, the odds are against it happening, but hey, we've seen stranger things happen before in Super Smash TV, and it is going to be a negligible hole shot for SpaceCo.
Yeah, not quite a frame, but it's up there.
2/10 of a second.
Yeah, 2/10 of a second at most. Absolutely right here. So these opening drops gonna be key here for both of our runners. It's a foot for Tapatio, grenades for SpaceCo, nothing to write home about for either player. But Tapatio with a second drop orb. So his last 3 games, he's gone first drop, second drop orb. That is nuts, folks.
And what you saw Tapatio do is he had good recognition of where the orb was, where the orb was going to hit.
Oh no, a mistake from Taps.
Well, so much for that. But I'll continue. When he was grabbing the orb, he saw the shrapnel right near it. So he decided to let the shrapnel go up a little bit so he can keep the orb. He does have a little bit of a lead entering this room. He might keep the lead going out of this room if the drops hold up.
Yep, about a 1.5 second lead for Tapatio, but yeah, that is an early mistake that you can't be making in this juncture. SpaceCo, we were playing tennis with the orb, because when Taps lost it, SpaceCo gained his orb. Now, these rockets will help Tapatio with Eat My Shrapnel, but if he doesn't see an orb anytime soon, we could see SpaceCo build the lead and continue to mount that comeback. Vulnerability not going to really help out Taps here. SpaceCo, he's got this room under control here. He's got a couple more of the Mr. Shrapnels left to take out. And just like that, it is now a 1-second lead for Taps. And that lead is going to flip to SpaceCo. Oh, almost a mistake there, folks.
Yeah, but Taps now has an orb on the feet, and now he's controlling the center.
That is a huge drop. He got it just in the nick of time. He could still come out of this lead, but look at this. Razor Shield for both runners now.
That is what both of them need. Now it's going to come to weapons. Spreader for TapatioJ. He's going to get a lot of... He's going to up his kill count. Unfortunately, SpaceColonizer empty drop there of a key, so he's going to focus on the Swarmers. Another spreader for TapatioJ, but it's not in a good location. But he's still going to go for it, though. Maybe just try to clear out the shrapnels.
Exactly. That's exactly what he was doing there, Sigma. He was just being patient there, and that patience is going to pay off. He is going to be... Well, this is very close. We're dead even to the frame. They are literally in there at the exact same time. I think it's time for... Taco Bell. Product placement with Taco Bell. Wow, you couldn't get any closer than this. They basically got in there at the same time, and neither of them have a weapon to take with them into tank trouble. So this first drop is going to be critical for both of our runners here. The early drops have favored Taps, but this time it doesn't favor anybody.
But Tapatio is able to kill one of the gunners with the grenades. Now he's in the upper left-hand corner, just trying to get rid of that other gunner.
Yep, SpaceCo lost his orb to a purple shirt as he just got overpowered by the Swarmers there. So Tapatio keeping that orb. This time it might serve him well because unlike in game, well, as I say that, SpaceCo does get a rocket drop, but then runs right into the grunt, losing most of his rockets there. So I would think this time it is going to be Taps coming out of here with the lead, and that Razor Shield could all but cement it.
Well, there's also more rockets for SpaceCo. He is just trying to do some dancing and a final...
Beautiful nuke there from Taps. 426, he does have the lead this time around. So Taps with the lead. SpaceCo trying to finish up this room. Looks like this is the end. It's going to be a manageable deficit. SpaceCo can come from behind, but he's got 14 seconds to make up. And Taps with the opportunity at the ball buster. He's going to focus on the gunners first, then make his play for the ball buster as he gets a key for an open and drop. Mutoy Man is blocking his path, so now he's going to go for the rockets, and then he's probably going to try and make another pass. This lobber here, he'll have a chance for the ball buster. No, he's wide left.
No, and plus Mutoid was in a really bad position for it anyway. TapatioJ has a spreader, however, that is in the worst position. That is a player 2 spreader. And we do have runners here who do run player 2, so that's the location they would love.
It most definitely is. And of course, speaking of a player 2 matchup, sometime down the road, we're going to have Aquas taking on Jack and Miss Wedge, 2 player 2 runners. That's going to be a lot of fun. We don't know exactly when that's going to be. SpaceCo gets a spread, but that's a long ways away. Can he get to it? Yes.
Yes.
He does. Tapatio's got lobbers, so he can still pile on good damage. He pops the head.
Whoa, look at all the damage SpaceCo got out of that spreader. Incredible. Wow. They're on the same 4. SpaceCo trying to make this comeback happen here. Where's the weapon? It's lobbers for Taps. SpaceCo running out of lobbers here, and he gets an empty drop. And he does get to final form, but so does Tapatio. He's got rockets waiting for him, but he's going to let it go, and he's missed a lot of shots on those lobbers. Will he get punished with an empty drop? He gets grenades. SpaceCo with the drop edge. He gets zapped, but SpaceCo gets run over, and he's got an empty drop, and Taps gets to the grenades here. Will this be enough to finish off Mutoy Man? If it's not, the lobbers most certainly will.
That's it.
That's going to do more empty drops for SpaceCo, and Tapatio is going to hold on and win game number 4 and take this match 3-1. SpaceCo had a chance, but he got run over, and after he got run over, Trolltoid Man's final form does what the final form does best. Empty drop after empty drop after empty drop. Taps wins.
Yep, 635 for TapatioJ. The timer on SpaceColonizer's stream has stopped for some unknown reason.
Probably accidentally hit the split button. There he goes. He's restarted. So his time is a 7:03. Yeah, that came down to that final form. It looked like SpaceColonizer had a chance there with lobbers in hand, but unfortunately he got run over, and then Troll Toy Man delivered the ultimate penalty to SpaceCo with empty drops upon empty drops, and that was all she wrote. Great match between the two, but it is going to be our veteran, our longtime seasoned veteran, TapatioJ, moving on to the next round.